Reborn as a trash-tier hunter with a reality-weaving glitch. Part 1. The Delete Key. The air at the 99th floor of the World Dungeon didn't taste like oxygen. It tasted like ash, copper, and the distinct, suffocating scent of impending death. For 10 years, humanity had climbed this godforsaken tower. We were told that clearing the 100th floor would save our world from the dimensional fractures tearing our cities apart. I had spent every single one of those 10 years at the very bottom of the food chain. My name is Ethan Vance. In a world where people awakened as S-ranked flame sovereigns or divine telepaths, I awakened with an unranked, pathetic skill called structural scan. It didn't let me shoot fire. It didn't let me swing a sword faster. All it did was let me see the exact molecular makeup of whatever object I looked at. If I focused on a boulder, a blue screen would tell me it was made of silicon dioxide. Wow, revolutionary. Because of that, I became a porter, a human pack mule. I spent a decade carrying hundreds of pounds of spare armor, high-grade mana potions, and rations for the Apex Guild, the highest-ranking guild in the world. I took the insults, I took the scraps, I took the humiliation, because I believed we were all working toward the same goal, saving humanity. How incredibly naive of me. "Drop the bags, Ethan," a voice echoed through the cavern. It was Logan Reynolds, the S-Class leader of Apex, the man whose face was plastered on billboards across the globe as the savior of mankind. His golden armor didn't have a single scratch on it, while my leather tunic was shredded and soaked through with sweat and old blood. "What?" I gasped, my lungs burning from the toxic air. I unbuckled the massive steel-reinforced crate from my back. "Logan, the boss room anchor is just ahead. If we drop the supplies, we won't have enough high-grade elixirs to sustain the frontline tanks." "There isn't going to be a frontline fight today," Logan said. His voice was terrifyingly calm. Beside him stood Arya, the Frost Sovereign. I had spent my entire life savings 3 years ago just to buy a rare flame-insulating cloak to protect her during a volcanic raid. She wouldn't even look at me now. She was staring at a blue, swirling teleportation scroll in her hand. "The scout drones lied," Arya muttered, her voice icy. "The 99th floor isn't a safe zone. It's a nesting ground. We're completely surrounded by cinder behemoths. The guild's escape scroll only has enough mana charges to transport the core combat team back to the surface. It can't handle the extra mass of a porter." My heart stopped. The blood in my veins turned to liquid nitrogen. You're leaving me?" "Don't look at us like that, Ethan." Logan stepped forward, his heavy boots clicking against the stone. "It's simple math. If the core team dies here, humanity loses its strongest protectors, and the world falls. If you die here, well, we hire a new porter tomorrow. You should be honored. Your sacrifice ensures the survival of the human race." "I carried you through hell," I screamed, my voice cracking, tears of sheer rage blinding my vision. "Arya, I gave you my own rations when we were trapped for a week in the frozen depths. You can't do this." "Goodbye, Ethan," Logan said. Before I could even lift my arms to defend myself, his heavy gold-plated boot slammed directly into my chest. The raw strength of an S-rank warrior felt like a semi-truck colliding with my ribs. I heard the sickening crack of my sternum fracturing as I was sent flying backward, hurtling through the air and crashing violently into the dark, jagged rocks of the lower pit. Above me, the blue light of the escape scroll flared to life. "Logan! Arya!" I shrieked, spitting out a mouthful of dark blood. They didn't look back. The blue light flashed, and in an instant, they vanished. The cavern fell into an eerie, suffocating silence. Then came the growls. From the dark recesses of the pit, massive shapes began to stir. The cinder behemoths. They were towering, quadrupedal nightmares made of hardened volcanic stone, their bodies pulsing with internal hellfire. Dozens of them. Their glowing crimson-red eyes locked onto the solitary broken human bleeding out on the floor. I choked on my own blood, trying to push myself up against a jagged boulder. My left arm was completely broken, hanging uselessly at my side. My right hand weakly gripped a standard-issue rusty iron dagger, the only weapon a porter was allowed to carry. The alpha of the pack, a behemoth the size of a 3-story house, stepped forward. Its hot sulfuric breath washed over my face, singeing my eyebrows. It bared rows of razor-sharp obsidian teeth. "Is this really it?" I thought, a bitter, hollow laugh escaping my lips. 10 years of loyalty, 10 years of being a footstool, and I'm just food for a dungeon mob while they get a parade on the surface? The behemoth raised a massive, jagged claw, ready to bring it down and crush me into a paste. "Screw you," I whispered to the empty air. "Screw the guild, screw the system, screw it all." With the last ounce of my strength, out of pure spiteful habit, I activated my useless skill. Structural scan. Instantly, the world froze. The giant claw descending upon my face stopped millimeters from my nose. The dust floating in the air hung perfectly still. But the standard blue holographic screen didn't appear. Instead, the air around me began to tear. Violent, jagged lines of purple and black digital artifacts crackled across my field of vision, looking like a heavily corrupted computer monitor. A loud, piercing static sound echoed directly inside my brain, forcing a scream from my throat. "Critical system anomaly detected. Host life signs at 0.8%. Universal law constraints fracturing. Scanning. User's logic structure matches the foundational code of the tower. Attempting to fix data corruption. Failed. Evolving skill. Structural scan. To bypass localized system parameters. Congratulations, you have unlocked the primordial origin skill. Reality glitch. Code editor." I stared in absolute shock. A new interface manifested in front of my face. Unlike the clean corporate blue windows of the Hunter system, this one was a deep, chaotic purple. And it wasn't just showing me the data of the world around me. There was a flashing cursor. Floating right above the frozen head of the Cinder Behemoth was a block of text. Target, Cinder Behemoth, level 95. Core composition, SSS rank unbreakable obsidian. Status, executing attack, crush. My mind, sharp from a decade of analyzing item descriptions just to survive, suddenly clicked. Code editor? With a trembling, blood-soaked hand, I reached out and touched the holographic text. To my absolute bewilderment, a digital keyboard materialized beneath my fingertips. I didn't know if this was a hallucination brought on by blood loss, but I didn't have anything else to lose. I backspaced through the words SSS rank unbreakable obsidian. My fingers flew across the purple keys, typing a simple word from the list of basic items I used to carry in my pack. Glass. Data modification successful. Re-engaging localized time. The world snapped back into motion. The massive, heavy claw of the Cinder Behemoth slammed directly onto my chest. But there was no impact. There was no pain. The moment the beast's claw made contact with my body, a sound like a dropping chandelier echoed through the cavern. The entire 3-story tall monster instantly shattered into a million glittering translucent pieces of common glass, raining down around me in a harmless cascade. You have defeated a level 95 Cinder Behemoth. Experience points calculated. Overwhelming level disparity detected. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. A pillar of intense, blinding light erupted from my body. The fractures in my chest instantly snapped back into place. My left arm healed with a sickening but glorious pop. My fatigue vanished, replaced by an intoxicating, overwhelming wave of pure, unadulterated power. The remaining 40 Cinder Behemoths in the cavern stopped dead in their tracks. Their low growls died in their throats. Their primitive, monstrous minds were completely incapable of processing what just happened. Their apex alpha had just turned into window glass and broken against the fragile human. I stood up slowly, brushing the glass shards off my shoulder. I looked down at my status screen. Level 45. I had jumped 30 levels from a single kill. But more importantly, I locked my eyes on the purple flickering text of my new skill. The behemoths began to back away, their instincts screaming at them to run. The hunters had become the prey. "Oh no, you don't," I whispered, a dark, vengeful smile spreading across my face. "You don't get to leave, not until I test my new toys." I lunged forward. For 10 years, I was the slow one, the one who had to be protected, the one who trailed behind. But now, as I ran, I opened the code editor for my own stats. User stat, agility, 12. Modification, multiplier 100. Boom! I vanished from the spot, leaving a literal sonic boom in my wake. To the monsters, I was nothing but a blur of purple light. I reappeared directly in front of 3 of them. They tried to swing at me, but to my eyes, their movements were moving in slow motion. I grabbed my standard rusty iron dagger. I pulled up its item code. Item, rusty iron dagger.
Attack power 5. Modification 99,999. I swung the blade. A standard iron dagger shouldn't have been able to pierce their volcanic hide, but with its attack power rewritten to rival a god-tier artifact, the blade sliced through 3 massive stone entities as if they were made of warm butter. They didn't just die, they exploded into massive digital clouds of experience points and items. I became a hurricane of pure corruption inside the dungeon. I walked through the horde, casually tapping monsters with my finger, deleting their armor values, reducing their health pools to 1, and watching them collapse from the sheer weight of their own bodies. Within 10 minutes, the entire 99th floor, a place that would have taken the entire Apex Guild an entire day of grueling, life-threatening combat to clear, was completely empty. The floor was covered in legendary gold chest drops, high-tier skill books, and millions of dungeon coins. I stood in the center of the carnage, panting slightly, not from exhaustion, but from the sheer adrenaline of what I had become. I was a walking glitch, a virus in the system. Suddenly, a massive golden portal materialized in the center of the room, the gateway to the 100th floor, the final boss. But before I could even take a step toward it, a massive screen-filling system notification blocked my view. Attention, hidden extraordinary achievement unlocked. You have cleared a high-tier dungeon using an unauthorized authority. The system cannot balance your existence within the current timeline. Generating compensation reward. Option unlocked. The Gate of Reversal. Description: would you like to use your reality warping authority to rewind the localized world timeline by 3 years, retaining your current origin skill? I stared at the prompt, my breath catching in my throat. Rewind time, 3 years. If I went forward into the 100th floor, I could probably beat it. I could clear the tower, return to Earth, and show the world my power. But what would happen? Logan and Arya were already back on the surface. They were probably on television right now, shedding fake tears, telling the media how their brave porter tragically fell so that they could live to save the world. They would be worshipped as martyrs and saints. If I just came back strong, it would be a playground fight. They would make excuses, they would use politics. But if I went back to the beginning, before they became gods, I could strip away everything they ever loved, piece by piece, in the light of day. I could show the world exactly what kind of cowards they were before they ever had the chance to wear their golden armor. They think they played the game perfectly, I muttered, my voice echoing darkly in the empty cavern. But they don't know the game just got hacked. I reached out my hand and slammed my palm against the accept button. A deafening roar of digital static filled my ears. The obsidian walls of the 99th floor began to pixelate, breaking apart into millions of blocks of data. The ground beneath my feet dissolved, and I fell backward into a blinding, infinite abyss of pure violet light. Beep, beep, beep. My eyes snapped open. I gasped for air, sat up violently, and immediately threw my hands up to protect my chest. But there was no golden boot. There was no blood. I blinked, looking around. The air didn't taste like ash. It smelled like cheap, instant beef ramen and damp carpet. I was sitting in a squeaky twin bed inside a cramped, messy, 500-square-foot apartment. Sunlight was streaming through a cracked window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. With a trembling hand, I grabbed my phone off the nightstand. My eyes locked on the lock screen. June 21, 2023, 8 a.m. 3 years ago, this was the exact morning of the Apex Guild's first national recruitment drive, the day I originally stood in a line of 10,000 people, desperate, broken, and signed a slave contract to become Logan's personal bag carrier. I slowly stood up and walked over to the cracked mirror in the bathroom. My face was younger. The deep, jagged scars I'd earned from a decade of frontline abuse were gone. I looked completely ordinary. Was it all a dream, I thought, a sudden wave of panic washing over me? Did I just hallucinate 10 years of torment? With a racing heart, I whispered the command, "Status." A holographic screen snapped into view, but it wasn't the clean, public blue screen every hunter had. It was a flickering, deep purple window. Name, Ethan Vance, Level 1, Class, None, Health, 100 of 100, Mana, 10 of 10, Current Skill, Reality Glitch, Level 1. System Note, Local Environment Code detected. Source, Planet Earth, ready for edit. A slow, terrifying grin spread across my face, reflecting in the bathroom mirror. My stats were gone, but the back door to reality was still wide open. Right now, across town at the Apex headquarters, Logan Reynolds was probably putting on his expensive suit, getting ready to give a speech about destiny, heroism, and the bright future of his guild. He thought he was the main character of this world. He thought the rules of the system were absolute. He had no idea that the trash he threw away had just returned with the delete key. Enjoy the high life for the next few hours, Logan, because your contract with reality just got cancelled.